don't never spend my Bitcoin right now until it raises to where I think it needs to be. Remember that number, 100 million. I firmly bet my life that not in my lifetime, but maybe in my children's lifetime, that one Bitcoin today that's worth 40,000 is gonna be worth about $100 million. So what do? I buy and stack for my kids. You can stack for your future.
Hello, all right, everyone. Happy Mindset Monday. It is just an incredible day, an incredible day to be alive, to say the least. And I just want to welcome everyone to Ahead of the Crypto Curve, where we are creating Satoshi millionaires, one family at a time, one Bitcoin at a time, one Satoshi at a time. And that means you, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host, Najah Roberts, aka Young Harriet, and it is my mission in life to lead my people out of financial slavery. And I have my in-house guest with me today, Mr. Enrique. How are you, Enrique?
Doing well. Hey.
That's good. That's good. And so we are representing on this Monday the black and the brown. Yep. And so we are making sure that our community is getting the best information. And so Enrique has some stuff that he's going to be sharing. He's giving away another pair of AirPods. So get ready for those of you that have not entered into his drawing. And we'll talk about that in a little bit. But in observance of Woman's Her Story Month, my quote is simply this: a woman is like a tea bag. You can't tell how strong she is until you put her in hot water. That's Eleanor Roosevelt. And I saw a gentleman's eyes got real big on that one till you put her in hot water. So, but that was a very good quote by Eleanor Roosevelt. And so we are definitely strong and all those things. So I appreciate that. With that being said, as you all know, we actually make sure that we are honoring a black and brown young lady for this month as we are continuing to celebrate Women's Her Story Month. We're paying homage to those individuals that have done and are doing an incredible job in this space. And the young lady that I would like to pay homage to today, her name is Ingrid LaFleur. And this young lady, man, wants to live in a world that isn't afraid to evolve, and more specifically, an evolution that invests in black futures. And so LaFleur is globally recognized as a curator, designer, an innovationist, a pleasure activist for Afrofuturistic, committed to exploring and implementing forward-thinking solutions across multiple industries, including but not limited to art, technology, education, social enterprise, and finance. And with that being said, she is the chief community officer of EOS Detroit. And EOS Detroit has a whole big thing that they're doing around blockchain. So for those of you that have some time to do some research, you can Google EOS Detroit, and you can see some of the work that she is doing. But that EOS Detroit is actually Detroit Ledger Technologies that came into existence in March of 2018. And it was just a crew of supporters that put together and launched this blockchain network. And through the hard work and grit, their foresight, their luck, Detroit Ledger Technologies evolved over time and provides software engineering, artistry, leadership, and community building on top of the blockchain infrastructure. And it's just really an incredible thing to see. It's an incredible thing to experience. Those individuals that are really working inside of the space and really being the change that they want to see. And so with that, again, we honor today Miss Ingrid LaFleur. And so we appreciate her for her hard work in this space. Now, ladies and gentlemen, there's so much stuff going on in this space. We have a little bit of Bitcoin news for you, but I wanted to today just do a little bit of an update. As we know, we're working on all of our mindsets to understand that Bitcoin has not yet reached its full potential. So when it's trading sideways or it drops in value. We know that Bitcoin is on sale. We know when it's trading sideways. It's just giving us enough time to buy just a little bit more Satoshis. And we're forever grateful for that because, when it gets up in the hundreds and 200s and 300,000s, we'll still be able to buy our little $6 worth of Bitcoin or Satoshis, but it definitely will not be the amount of Satoshis we're getting right now for $6 a day. So with that, Bitcoin actually held above 41,000 despite a slight drop over the weekend. This is still the number one digital asset, but it saw a quick uptick of about 13% over the last 7 days. And a lot of people are really feeling like we are moving into the bullish sentiments of Bitcoin. But we started losing some what they call support levels. And BTC broke downward in the trend. And the resistance line that we were looking at is about 41.5, ladies and gentlemen. And so, again, when we're saying these numbers, some of these things are for our traders to listen to. But for the most part, we need to be really focused on how much we can afford to lose and or how much we can afford to dollar cost average, because Bitcoin is relatively cheap right now. I don't know about you, but $41,000 looks real appealing to me when it got up to 60 some odd thousand. And I'm thinking, oh my goodness, our community does not have time to really get the most Satoshis for their bang. But since it's down low, I'm really excited about this time. But just make sure that you're really understanding our mindset as it relates to this. Bitcoin has not reached its full potential, and we are looking at these types of reports because we're trying to see really what the bullish sentiment is. Is it going to return and go past? Because if it breaks past 45,000, ladies and gentlemen, they are anticipating it being back up into the 60s and the hundreds by the end of this year. And so we're taking a look at that. And so when we come forward, we will finish just a little bit of this report. This is KBLA Talk 1580. All right. And here we are with another just really, there's some good information, but I wanted to make sure that you all know that the U.S. Treasury Department actually released 3 annual reports. They're covering terrorist financing, proliferation financing, and money laundering. They actually highlighted that fiat currency and traditional networks are far more common in their use compared to digital assets. Now, we've been hearing in the news that it's the complete opposite, but their actual reports highlighted that fiat currency, that paper dollar that you hold, and traditional networks are far more common in their use compared to digital assets as it relates to covering those terrorist financing and some of these other things, because the dollar, as we stated before, is not traceable. Once it's given to somebody, you have no idea of knowing where it's going. And we're going to talk about how easily traced some of these things are on the blockchain, probably in a few at the end of the segment today. But they also talked about DeFi. So a lot of you are hearing the word DeFi, that stands for decentralized finance, was named specifically. That could have a huge potential with the anonymity enhancing technologies where laundering can be used as a part of growing toolkits to evade sanctions of the law. Now, we're going to talk about that because when they constantly say that fiat is what is being laundered and is being used for illicit activities, but they always try to come in and say that, different spaces in the cryptocurrency space create these types of on and off ramps. But now they've moved it to DeFi because, on most of the exchanges, which we've been telling you all, you need to do a KYC. That's a know your customer. So they know your name. They know where you live. They know all those things. So now they're starting to kind of push this over into the DeFi space, and there are some platforms in the DeFi space where you do not have to have a KYC done. But ladies and gentlemen, if you've gone over to AT&T or T-Mobile, or anywhere to purchase a cell phone, that would mean that you had to do your KYC. You had to give them your ID. You had to give them all those things, which means that even though you think you're dealing in the DeFi space, and even though some of the bad actors think that they're actually dealing in the DeFi space, they've tied some of their accounts to a cell phone, which then ties it back to them in their house. Like, literally, ladies and gentlemen, when we're telling you if this is being used by criminals and thieves on a bigger scale, they've got to get up really early in the morning to get around the KYCs that are done at so many different points, not just in this cryptocurrency space. And I don't know if Enrique wants to chime in on that. I see him shaking his head.
Well, I've heard actually that they register your IP address on top of it when you actually give your KYC. So they can actually, at any moment, take the network and triangulate your position anywhere in the city at any time. So those of you that think you're completely anonymous and nobody can find you, no. Everybody knows where everybody is at these days. That's just the way it works. If you carry a phone, they know where you are. That's the way it is.
Yes. And so as you get into this crypto space, I want to always make sure, again, that you're understanding things that people will throw at you, because it was constantly thrown at me. You know, this is something you all are trying to stay anonymous because it's for criminals and thieves. Well, you know what? There are criminals and thieves in everything we do, and they're going to find a way to be bad actors because that's just what they do. So we want to make sure that everyone is clear that this is not what this space is about. But there are scams that have grown, and I want to make sure that we're always talking about these scams because we want to make sure that our consumers, we as the consumers, are safe. And the only way you're going to know that is through education. And so what this U.S. Treasury Department also released was that during the pandemic, there was a large amount of unsuspected victims being lured into trading cryptocurrency. But what folks were doing, which is what I told you do not do, is give your money to somebody who buys you Bitcoin, who then takes your Bitcoin and trades it in or stakes it for another coin, and you get back the other coin. Like, it's just, most of that is a no-go. So just make sure that you know. And then if you've been taken for some money, please, ladies and gentlemen, do not throw good money after bad, going to find somebody that's going to help you reconciliate and get the money back, because that has turned out in some cases to be a scam as well. So these transactions are irreversible, but they are not where you cannot get them traced. And there are some mechanisms that are being put in place that will allow the government and several other entities to track where the Bitcoin winds up, or where those different cryptocurrencies actually wind up on the blockchain. And so I think that's good news for a lot of us. But with that being said, we'll move on to our next piece of news. So over the weekend, we found out that nearly $6 billion in Ethereum has been burned.
Wow.
So $6 billion with the B. And so this is, in the Ethereum folks' eyes, I'll say it that way, this is edging them closer to the Ethereum 2.0. So this burning mechanism that was done, that destroyed over 2 million ETH, which ETH stands for Ethereum. So they burned over 2 million Ethereum. And this mechanism was actually introduced last August. So they've been working on this. And you all have probably heard me say several times that Bitcoin is the only cryptocurrency that has done exactly what it said it was going to do at the exact time that it said it was going to do it. People that have been functioning and creators of Ethereum have been talking about what it is going to do, what they are going to do. And they've also been pushing dates back because they've not met the deadlines and the things that they've said that they've done. So I've been just kind of watching Ethereum. I've watched some of the creators of Ethereum distance themselves from the project, unfortunately. And so I just kind of been wondering what we're going to do, because a lot of people are getting themselves involved in Ethereum. They're buying it because they're thinking it is a store of value. a lot of people. And then the other half of people that I meet in the community that have Ethereum, they're holding on to Ethereum because they're utilizing it for purchase of the NFTs, the non-fungible tokens. And so with this Ethereum burn, and Enrique and I were trying to sit here and just really figure it out. It's called the EIP 1559. I was about to get dyslexic on you all. It's the EIP 1559, and it's actually where they were splitting up the fees. So what it sounds like or what it looks like, and we've been trying to read up on this burning mechanism, is what they're doing is they're burning those additional fees. So like the gas is what we're understanding that they're burning. And I don't know if Enrique wants to expound on that, but I didn't quite understand it.
No, it's definitely something.
Other than creating scarcity.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. That's what I was going to get into. It seems like it's going to create more scarcity. Now, to give Ethereum a little bit of background, we had Ethereum Classic. So Ethereum before actually got hacked, right? So they actually made a second chain for Ethereum. Right. So we need to understand that Ethereum is kind of an evolving cryptocurrency, while Bitcoin is more like gold. OK, so you want to think of Ethereum more of transactional nature. So it helps us make these transactions, not necessarily a store of value, although it will go up. Now, how does this base fee work? Right. So we had what was called proof of work, which meant that you had to get a video card to mine your Ethereum. But now we're getting into what's called proof of stake. That means you need to stake. So put up a certain amount of Ethereum in order to be able to win what are called these fees when people do these transactions. So what it's looking like is they're going to take that fee and they're going to start burning them out. So they're going to start every time there's a transaction, part of the transaction is going to go to the ether into nowhere. So this will create scarcity and it will raise the value of Ethereum, in my opinion.
Okay. Well, yes, Enrique says that it will raise the value. So is this going to bring us closer to Ethereum 2.0? Is this what the goal is? And I'm not an Ethereum buff, and I do hold Ethereum. I tell everybody I hold different coins for different reasons. Bitcoin is my wealth creator. The rest of these coins that I hold are for a purpose. And my purpose is to support, I don't want to say starving artists because all of them are not starving, but to really support those who are creators. And that's why I hold Ethereum. I don't think that Ethereum is ever going to get to $69,000 or $100,000 for that matter. And so, but a lot of people are jumping into Ethereum because they think it's cheap and it's the next Bitcoin. And we got to make sure that you understand there are two totally different coins with two totally different purposes.
Absolutely. Ethereum is actually kind of Bitcoin is much harder to code on than Ethereum because Ethereum was purpose built from the beginning to allow you to make these smart contracts so you can make transactions happen much easier than in Bitcoin.
Well, Bitcoin has smart contracts too.
They do now, yes.
They do. Yeah. So those of us that are all Bitcoin outs are looking forward to seeing what people are doing. And I got to say this really quickly. We have got a community of cryptocurrency users. I call them cryptopians that are sitting every single day trying to solve these problems. And I know you think of in different industries, there are people that are doing, they're doing their research. They're scouting out things. They're trying to figure out how things work. But when these folks are trying to be the first one to discover something, like there are tens of thousands of people working hard, fast and furious to be the first one to bring something to market. So just really stay tuned as to what smart contracts, use cases. I'm going to say that what use cases come out of the smart contracts that are on Bitcoin. And since we're talking about smart contracts and we've got just a few more minutes before we run up on news and traffic, can you explain to us in layman's terms what a smart contract is on either one of those?
Yeah. So a smart contract, let's say you were trying to sell a house, right? And you were trying to essentially say, when you give me this much Ethereum, then you will finally be able to receive the bill of sale. Right? So you would kind of need a middle person, right? A real estate agent to make that transaction happen in the past. But with smart contracts, you can set it up to where they will only receive that Ethereum once you receive the bill of sale, and you'll receive it literally at the same second. So it really helps in removing the need of a middleman.
Wonderful, wonderful. And so smart contracts are going to be used for so many things. As he said, real estate, when we're talking to real estate agents, maybe you know real estate agents right now. We have been the town criers telling all of our real estate agents, and what we were called or are called are the realtists. So if there's realtists across this United States, you all really need to be looking into how blockchain really is starting to change some of the regular traditional ways that you used to sell houses and property. Because if escrow is no longer needed, very, very soon, and I'm going to say that, and I know a lot of people think it's a long way off, but it's not, because they're already doing these transactions. But where escrow is not needed, once the blockchain is implemented, and maybe we'll talk about that on another day about how real estate plays into this, but I know that title insurance won't be needed, because if the blockchain is absolute and all the information contained in it cannot be changed, altered, or deleted, when someone owns a property outright, they have that in a block that cannot be altered, changed, or deleted, which means title insurance will be obsolete, because title insurance is only in case there's some discrepancy in the information that was provided at the close of escrow. And so there's so many things in this space that blockchain changes.
That's the power of blockchain, right? It removes the need for trust.
Yes.
It's incredible.
It's incredible. So, ladies and gentlemen, we definitely want to make sure that you're understanding all of these things. And we'll have some more shows that go all the way in depth with some of these different applications and what people need to understand. And I know a lot of people haven't been listening from the beginning. Blockchain is totally different than cryptocurrency. Blockchain can exist without Bitcoin. It can exist without Ethereum. But Bitcoin and Ethereum are some of the use cases that sit on top of the blockchain. So your blockchain is your information. It's your hub. It is information in a decentralized manner. And I'm going to say that always, in a decentralized manner that cannot be changed, altered, or deleted. But if you get in the blockchain, let's just say Xerox owns the blockchain. That is absolutely not decentralized. It is centralized. And just because Xerox has a blockchain does not mean they cannot change, alter, and delete, because they absolutely can. So when Enrique is talking about a trustless society or a trustless thing, it has to be in a decentralized manner where no one company, no one person actually controls it. And I know it's a lot to grasp, but ladies and gentlemen, you will learn. Just continue to come. We'll continue to break some of these things down, but it's critically important that we understand blockchain as the technology, and then these Bitcoin and several of these other things that are added to the blockchain just as a use case for what it can do and how it can work. But really, to be quite honest, we need to be blockchain advocates as opposed, Bitcoin is awesome because it's the money on the blockchain, but we really need to get our minds focused in this community about what's the most important part of this entire equation, and that is blockchain, because blockchain does allow us to do so many more things in a more efficient way than we've always done. It saves a lot of people time, energy, and money. And I'll give you one more application, since we are talking about blockchain that wasn't in the news today, but we'll just talk about it really quickly. The blockchain could have saved Chipotle. I believe it was Chipotle. They had a scare when people were getting sick and they couldn't figure out whether it was the cheese, whether it was the onions, whether it was the cows that came from wherever.
They could have marked every single individual spinach and it wouldn't have cost them 1 more cent.
Yes. So with blockchain technology, ladies and gentlemen, so you understand how vast this thing is, it could do from seed to sale. So they could have pinpointed what piece of spinach off what farm got somebody sick, instead of having to shut down all the Chipotles and do all this other stuff. They just could have just pulled the lettuce immediately. And so there are teams of people, there's thousands of people working on that chain structure, that blockchain structure, where they are documenting from seed to sale to show people on the supply chain how blockchain is efficient and works. And again, that's just another use case of the blockchain. And when we come forward, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to talk about really quickly, we're going to talk about Goldman Sachs, because Goldman Sachs had some stuff to come out. And then we are going to get in depth with understanding how purchases and Bitcoin can be tracked, because it absolutely can. And so we're going to talk about what that looks like when we come forward. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the head of the crypto curve, and I am Najah Roberts, and we are on KBLA Talk 1580. All right. So really quickly here, Goldman Sachs, and I like to talk about these types of things because, you know, some of you just don't believe, as my grandfather would say, that fat meat is greasy until you hear some big entity that you're used to hearing that deals in these millions and billions of dollars. Well, Goldman Sachs, ladies and gentlemen, is now the first major U.S. bank to trade cryptocurrency over the counter. So they are in competition with little old me. They got an OTC, a over the counter exchange. They're the first ones, but they got a whole heck of a lot more money than I do. But they're one of the first ones to have an over the counter exchange. So that is big news, ladies and gentlemen, because this is a move towards mass adoption. So this move is seen as a notable step in development of the cryptocurrency markets for the institutional investors. And so just know, when the institutions start to come in, there is going to be a whole lot of movement, and we're trying to make sure that the black and brown community gets ahead of these institutional investors. So I just wanted to make sure that you are noteworthy of that, because while you're sitting on the sidelines, these investors are getting ready. Go ahead, Enrique.
The big boys are making plays, so do not get left out. That is literally as simple as I can put it. If Goldman Sachs is doing their own over-the-counter exchange in Bitcoin, that means there's going to be billions of dollars are going to go into the blockchain.
Absolutely. Yes. And so since we were talking about Ethereum earlier, talking about Ethereum burning coins, and we talked about, how that's going to make Ethereum a little more scarcer than it is on a regular, which you're saying is going to drive the price up. And I want you all to know, because a lot of you are getting ready to jump off here and say, oh, my goodness, well, I better go and I better buy me some Ethereum. I wanted to make sure we tied this all in together. And, the Most High is always working to pull things together. So I want to share with you how the IRS is looking for their fair share of cryptocurrency and NFT growth. And that's all I'm going to say on that. And so let's be honest, ladies and gentlemen, most of your tax accountants, they're not hip, and they struggle with technology and being tech savvy. So even some of their clients in these tax professionals are being forced into this new world surrounding these exchange of digital assets. They have no idea what you need to be doing or how you need to be doing it. And so we talked to you a little bit earlier in one of the shows about getting yourself involved with a person that knows about cryptocurrency taxes and such. And so while any person that is actually trading cryptocurrency or buying non-fungible tokens think that they're just doing something new and fun or just goofing around because you got a little bit of cash to play with, what you don't realize is that Uncle Sam is looking to collect their fair share. So let me just make sure that there is no mistakes about it. Coinbase specifically inked a deal at the end of 2021 with Homeland Security. So with Homeland Security, that means that no matter what you are doing, whether you report it or not, Coinbase has given them full reign to go into the Coinbase accounts and get whatever information they need. So it's not going to be hard for them to do any of this tracing or anything. But the number of questions that are being asked around this have actually skyrocketed to the IRS. And there are so many people that are looking for help because we're in tax season, right? If you haven't filed your taxes, I believe you have till April 15th, and then you have to file an extension, which is why we're learning all these things. This stuff is happening, ladies and gentlemen, right now, real time. That's why we're talking about it. But a lot of people are getting shocked to learn of their potential tax bill. And so the lack of understanding and proper planning in this space is what is resulting in a significant check having to be made out to the IRS. For those of you who have friends and family, or those of you who have not properly planned in this space. So we want to make sure that you're getting the education that you need so you can understand that this is not just a fad it's going away. Cryptocurrency is here to stay. But if you're one of those persons that think that this is just a fad, you need to rethink that attitude, because this cryptocurrency market and just all of the capitalization and all the things that are happening, this industry keeps and continues to go over the 1 trillion with the T mark. And it did that in 2021. And so we're talking about 13 years into this asset class, and it's gone over 1 trillion. That is a big thing, because gold is in its 10 trillion stage, and it's been around 5,000 years. So you go 13 years, 1 trillion, 5,000 years, 10 trillion. Like, I think we're catching up really quick, and it's not taking us thousands of years to do it. And so, please, ladies and gentlemen, be smart when it comes to that. And we have been signaled that we're going to come forward with a little bit more information about what those NFT sales look like and how these things can actually be traced, because we want to tie it in, because I know a lot of you have, again, these wallets and are buying these NFTs. You're getting into the space in NFTs, and I don't think anything is wrong with that. But when we come forward, we're going to really help you understand what you need to be doing in this space. This is KBLA Talk 1580. IRS is looking so heavily at NFTs right now, non-fungible tokens, is because a large portion of the market, ladies and gentlemen, the NFT sales totaled 24.9 billion in the last half of the year, and a total of 4.8 billion of that was like in about 2 or 3 months. And a lot of that came from NFT gaming. So not only are people playing having non-fungible tokens, but there's also NFT gaming. And that is why, I always say we are open arms to how people get into this space. And so if you're coming in with NFTs, we absolutely love you. We appreciate you, but we want to also educate you on why the feds are the IRS. I won't say the feds like that, but the IRS is thinking that knowing that they're going to get their fair share. And just so we can give you the proper perspective, listen to this number. In 2020, the actual capitalization of the cryptocurrency market in its totality was 758 billion with the B. And the total shares in NFT market in 2020 was just about 340 million. And so they definitely have their eye on us. They definitely have their eye on this space. But, some people argue, is the IRS really watching? And they don't have to do too much watching, because, again, they have platforms like Coinbase where they can just have Coinbase report for them or to them. Even if you didn't sell your Bitcoin, let's just say you were on Coinbase and you decided to take your $1,000 worth of Satoshis and send it to your own wallet. Well, at the end of the year, Coinbase will send you a 1099 for that $1,000. And you're like, well, wait a minute. I didn't sell it. I just moved it to my wallet. And what they're doing is they're leaving it up to you to actually dispute that 1099. But what that is doing is that's allowing them to report to the IRS who has cryptocurrency and who doesn't. And so do not be surprised if this year, after you file your taxes, and I'm going to say this again because we're pushing up on this April 15th date, and I know we had CJ, the smart guy here, but I have to say this to our community. If you do not check the box on page number 1 that asks you, have you bought, sold, traded, gifted, whatever the case is in cryptocurrency, ladies and gentlemen, if you check no, they have an indefinite amount of time to come after you for your taxes, penalties, all these other things that they tack on, all these other assessments that they tack on. But if you check yes, doesn't mean you're going to get audited, but it does mean that they only have 3 years from the time you check that box to come back and audit those tax years. Now, for those of you that think you're smarter than the average bear, as Miss Natalie says, you will find yourself 10, 15 years down the line when they've really put this chain analysis together and when they really have the manpower to really go back and reconciliate everyone's account. You're going to find yourself paying thousands and thousands of dollars, because I venture to say that once the price of Bitcoin and Ethereum and whatever else is going to go up goes up, the IRS is going to be counting what they missed as opposed to what the value was when you did not check the box on that tax return. So I am begging our community, black and brown community, anyone else that's listening, that you really do your due diligence. You get with someone that understands your taxes if you're dealing with the tax person. And I don't care, if you've been dealing with that person 15, 16 years. If they do not know cryptocurrency, do not allow them to do that portion of your taxes. I don't even know what to say. If by now your tax preparer is not getting themselves in the know, you need to get them, first of all, you need to get them on KBLA. They can call and ask us anything. We're not going to provide financial advice or tax advice, but we can point them in the right direction. But if your tax preparer is not trying to understand this new money, I think, this may be a cue for you, that you may need to do something different. And specifically, if you have cryptocurrency and you sold cryptocurrency, or you've gifted cryptocurrency, or you've donated cryptocurrency, like whatever it is, you really need somebody that understands this. And again, April 15th is around the corner. If you don't feel like you have the right tax professional, ladies and gentlemen, put in an extension. That'll give you the opportunity to find the right person, because this is really serious. And when I mean really serious, I say it all the time when I'm talking to our millennials. You may not be paying these taxes right now and might not think you have to pay these taxes, but when it means the most to you and your family is when the IRS typically comes up and snatches funds out of accounts, snatches funds out of escrow, and that's a real bad look. And so we want to just make sure that we are doing the best and creating the best results for our community by making sure that you are in the know ahead of time.
It seems like death and taxes are immutable too, right? So take heed, guys, because, you got to understand they're going to come and take your money regardless. They don't care if you got to pay bills. They don't care if you got to pay rent. So don't think that you have a completely anonymous wallet that nobody can find out who you are. So, I'm not giving out advice here, but if you actually think that you're going to be able to send Bitcoin out of Coinbase to a wallet and they won't know what wallet that is a false statement. They will know exactly what wallet it's being sent to because it's all on the blockchain.
Yes. And again, we are not here as criminals and thieves. We want to make sure that you all are understanding we have no problem with exposing who we are and what we're doing, because this is for the greater good of our community, and mass adoption is on the way. And you just got to know how to maneuver in this space to keep yourself safe and not avoid taxes. We want to pay our fair share. We know Uncle Sam and what he wants to do. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, when we come forward, we are going to do our
prize for the week.
Yes.
So AirPods, so stay tuned.
So yes, this is KBLA Talk 1580. All right. We have our giveaway with Binks.com today. He is giving away a pair of AirPods.
And a t-shirt.
Yes. All right. So what do we have to do?
So last week, all you had to do was sign up. This week, it's going to be even easier. So go to Binks.com, click on sign up, then you log in. Once you do that, you're going to hit the yellow join button. Then all you got to do is hand your phone to a friend, have them sign up, and you'll receive credit for whoever you expose to Binks.com. And of course, it's completely free. So whoever tells the most people about it this next week will receive a free pair of AirPods and a t-shirt.
And he did meet up with Miss Jackson. She got her AirPods. Mm-hmm. And if she didn't, she'd be calling in right now. You know that. So,
hi, Angelique.
Yes. So he did do that, definitely. And so you have to log in to Binks.com. Mm-hmm. You have to go in and share the app. And with as many people as whoever shares the most gets the AirPods this month.
Absolutely. Now, you got to sign them up through your phone, right? So you log into your own account. And then you go ahead and you hit the join button so you can receive credit. Now, for those of you who don't know what Binks.com it's a marketplace that allows you to buy and sell products and services for dollars or Bitcoin. So if you have some unused items around the house, you can sell them for Bitcoin and win a pair of AirPods for free.
All right. And now we're going to do our daily cost averaging. A DCA a day keeps poverty away. So you're going to open up your Black Wall Street wallet. And I'm opening mine, and I'm going to hit the purple circle that has the two arrows, and I am going to click on buy Bitcoin. And today I am going to dollar cost average my way into 1 million Satoshis, but I don't have it yet. But I am starting with $6 a day. So I'm going to click on one time. I'm going to click the $6, and I am going to hit continue. I am going to buy $6 worth of Satoshis. Satoshis is the smallest increment of a Bitcoin. Just like a penny is to $1. And the fee with the Black Wall Street is 11 cents. So I am buying $5.89 worth of Bitcoin right now because I'm clicking confirm. I just purchased that and my trade is complete. And ladies and gentlemen, I have done another $6 a day DCA, dollar cost average. And that's all you have to do. But you can also set it up and forget it. You can do that on your own, or you can just do it manually like I just did. Ladies and gentlemen, please follow me on, I am Najah Roberts on all social medias. No underscores, no dots, no periods, just Najah Roberts on all social medias. And you are listening to Ahead of the Crypto Curve, where we are creating Satoshi millionaires, one family at a time, one Bitcoin at a time, one Satoshi at a time. And that means you. Y'all don't touch that dial. It is time to make way for the DL Hughley Show. DL is the truth. And I am your host, Najah Roberts. And again, this is Ahead of the Crypto Curve. And this is KBLA Talk 1580, and we are unapologetically progressive.